Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For today, I would like to talk on the issue of legality of marriages in Malaysia, which is the specific topic is elope marriage issue in Malaysia. So my name is Ramira Bakis Video Mahrizat. My metric number is 1192119. Okay. First, we will go through the definition of elope marriage. What is actually defined by the elope marriage? Elopement or kahwin lari, which is the common term used in Malaysia for elopement, can be defined as a marriage without the consent of the authorities such as the Islamic Religious Department in each state and the Sharia court judges in every state. Which is this issue of kahwin lari is not a really new issue or current issue in Malaysia, as it has become almost a favorite practice among the Muslim in the state. Though I would like to talk on this topic, this is due to the fact that there is no specific or special provision or laws that address and explain the specific legal consequences of the practice. So elopement has raised many issues and other major problems for Malaysians, mainly the Muslim minorities, particularly in matters relating to the registration of marriage, which will lead to more serious problems. Next. Basically, Islamic family law in Malaysia does not recognize this kind of marriage because it violates the procedure of marriages under the Islamic law in Malaysia. However, the particular law in each state does not have any specific provisions that explain more or govern the elopement or known as cross-border marriages. So some issues arose whether elope marriage is lawful and is in line with the Islamic law of this country or not, and the Islamic state provision did not provide any special provision to govern this issue in Malaysia. Like eloping is also often linked with marriages without the presence of wali because usually we can see couples that tend to elope marriage because they did not get the consent from the families to get into a marriage. Next, what is rule in marriage is fatal? For it is one of the prerequisites of marriage. If a marriage is done without the presence of wali, then it is invalid according to Islamic law in Malaysia. Because wali must be from someone who is qualified. In the hadith from Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radhiyallahu anhu, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "La nikahu illa biwaliyin," which is a marriage is invalid without the presence of a wali. Next, any kind of marriage in Malaysia must observe the procedures as stipulated in the Islamic family law statutes. Elope marriage is clearly contrary to the procedure of marriage. So it is to be noted that any kind of marriage in Malaysia must observe the procedure. As the Islamic family law statute is stipulated that marriage can only be solemnized by certain individuals like wali majbir before the registrar of marriage by two ways. First, by representative of wali ijbar in front of and with the permission of the registrar of marriage, or by the registrar himself with the permission of wali ijbar and wali raja who is a syari'i judge. Next. The lawful marriage. The Islamic family law statute stipulated that marriage can only be solemnized for certain individuals like wali majbir for the registrar of marriage. This one has been explained in the previous slide. So moving on to the next point. The legal provisions state that the wali raja or the judge has the power to solemnize a woman who has no wali nasab, or in cases of wali enggan whereby the wali majbir refused to give permission to solemnize the woman. Section 34 of Islamic Family Law Act 1984, which is according to this section, nothing in this act or rules made under this act shall be construed to render valid or invalid any marriage that otherwise is invalid or valid, merely by reason of its having been or not having been registered. Thus, we can conclude that marriage is still valid according to the Sharia even without registering the marriage. Legal marriage is very important in Islam. Couples are obligated to be legally recognized by religion and the state through observing all the rules, procedures and formalities required. So according to the section 19 of Islamic Family Law Act 1984, no marriage shall be solemnized unless a permission of marriage has been given. So by the registrar under section 17 or by the Sharia judge under section 18 where the marriage involves a woman resident in the federal territory, or by the proper authority of the state where the marriage involves a woman resident in that state. Next, can elope marriage be valid? So this is one question arise in this issue. Elopement is considered legally incomplete because they do not conform to the state Islamic governance, where some countries made it as a custom, but not in Malaysia. So, Muzakarah of National Fatwa Committee for the 52nd Malaysian Islamic Religious Affairs Council that conferred on 1st July 2002 discussed the issue of eloping and marrying in suit of time, which is commonly happening in Malaysia. The Muzakarah ruled the marriage can be valid if it fulfills the following requirements, which is the marriage fulfills the prerequisite of marriage, then the eloped marriage can be valid. Next, the marriage is done in the place more than 2 marhala. And third, there is no court ruling that prevents the woman to marry according to Islamic law in the area where she resides in. And fourth, condition is where the marriage is arranged by a recognized magistrate of a county and the akad is done where the magistrate is commissioned as magistrate guardian. So if these requirements fulfilled, then the eloped marriage can be valid. Next, effect of elopement. Elopement can give many effects to a couple, and one of them is failure to register the marriage. Mostly, we can see the couple who tend to do eloped marriage failure to register their marriage, which gives a huge impact on their family life. Section 31, subsection 2 of the Islamic Family Law, Federal Treasury Site 1984 states that a couple that marries overseas or across the border and has returned to Malaysia must register their marriage here. So next, problem to get birth certificate for children of the marriage. This is also one of the common effects of elopement. Next, the last one is prevention of illegal marriages in Malaysia. So, legal and administrative mechanisms are designed to ensure the legality of marriage both under the Sharia and Malaysian laws. They are: first, requirement for registration of marriage, as being explained in Section 35 of Islamic Family Law Act 1984. Second is providing procedure of the solemnization of marriage. For the solemnization of marriage within Malaysia, there are two ways of application, which is the first one, application of marriage to registrar, and the second one is application of marriage to Sharia court. As further explained in Section 16 and 18 of the Islamic Family Law Act 1984. Okay, and finally, in the conclusion, the phenomenon of elopement that occurs in Malaysia is a reaction against the rigid and complicated procedure set out in the Islamic family law in Malaysia that restrict the freedom of Muslim couples to get married given the conditions that they are in. However, it is to be understood that marriage in Islam is sacred bond between two souls, and it should be in accordance with the laws and regulations being enforced. And the phenomena of elopement in Malaysia are absolutely contrary to the marriage philosophy, and it can be regarded as one of the infectious diseases that could eventually undermine the Islamic family institution in Malaysia. So I hope you can understand and it is clear. That's all for me. Thank you.